Arne, obviously Arsenal play before you do this weekend, so they have an opportunity to at least ask the question of you. I just wonder, obviously it's impossible to ignore exactly what happens between Arsenal and West Ham, so how does that impact you? Because if they win, it feels like a much more pressurised situation to match their result.
I think the biggest question to be asked is from Man City, because we face a strong team again, like we faced Villa. So Arsenal plays before us, but we know that doesn't make the game easier or more difficult that we have against City. We know we have 12 games to play, and Arsenal has 13 games to play. And if we constantly look at Arsenal or what other teams are doing, that would not help us. So we know already how difficult it is to go to the Etihad. So we don't need Arsenal to get involved in that even more.
Yeah, I mean, it's the last win in the league came in 2015. Obviously, Liverpool have won in the Champions League since then in 2018. So what are you expecting, though, from City? Because they've had a disappointing season. They've had that disappointment in the Champions League and obviously fighting for points to make sure they're in the Champions League next season.
Yeah, what I always expect from City, since Pep is there. A great football team that can play so well. And they've had maybe one or 2 months in the 7 or 8 years he's there now that weren't the best, maybe partly because of injuries as well. Injuries come back, they've signed 3 or 4 players. I can see them coming back already if you look at the result against Newcastle. So what you expect is what everybody expects if you go to the Etihad if you play against City. Yeah, you have to suffer as well. And work really hard to keep them away from your goal, because they are so good in ball possession. But yeah, they face a strong team as well that haven't lost for 22 games now.
Can I just ask about Darwin as well? Because there was so much attention on that one miss last night. How do you deal with that with Darwin himself to make sure that he doesn't suffer too much because of it?
Well, I can accept every miss, especially from a player that has scored 2 very important goals against Brentford. That scored for us in the home game against Villa. I would prefer him to score, but the word chance says it all. It's a chance, so it's not 100% sure that the ball goes in, and players miss chances. That I can accept. But what was a bit harder for me to accept, that his behavior after that chance, and with behavior I mean I think it got too much in his head, where he wasn't the usual Darwin that works his ass off and makes sure he helps the team. I think he was too disappointed after him missing that chance, and maybe we will never know, we will never find out. That's why he was just a fraction short the moment afterwards. I always truly believe that it's always the best to have Wata's mindset. And what I mean with that is that for the whole season he doesn't complain, keeps on going, and wherever we need him he's ready. And that is very difficult. There are not many players that can do this. So yeah, but it's not about the chance for me. It's more about the 20 minutes afterwards where I want to talk to him about than about him missing a chance.
And you generally see that mindset from the group as a whole, because as you mentioned, 22 games unbeaten in the Premier League since that defeat to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, and going 2-1 down against Villa, which was, in my opinion, completely against the run of play. Is that the way you say it here? So I was like, at halftime, I also said to them, I can show you now all the chances you've created. So don't think 2-1 is the result that is logical at the moment. So if you just keep on going, we do it defensively a bit better, we will definitely get our chances again. And that's also what we got. Unfortunately, too many times this season, we've missed maybe too many chances. And what I mean with that is that I don't think we've stolen many points. I've always come back to the Chelsea game where a draw was maybe a more of a fair result, but for every other game I think we got what we deserved, or we deserved more, and that is more of a thing for me than Arsenal plays on Saturday and we on Sunday.
Thank you.
Arne, what difference, you said a moment ago about City looking a bit better in recent weeks with the new players, with the injured players back. What's the difference that you've seen?
That players available. The style of play has always been the same for all these years that Pep was at Barcelona, at Bayern Munich, or at City. That's what I like from every manager. If they wear different shirts, you still know Probably this is a team that is coached by Pep Guardiola, and that is what we've seen also in the period of time where they drop points. But yeah, even he needs quality players to get results, and if so many players are out, and you see this with Ace Postecoglou as well, if you constantly have to, if you only have 10, 11, 12 players to play with in this league, in another league it's probably possible, but in this league it's so hard. So yeah, now with players being back, it's the same style of play, but the results are better.
Obviously, just lately you've had a lot of matches, a lot of league games as well. We're beginning to count down the games, we're beginning to count down the points and everything else. What are you learning about your team as you go through these challenges and go through these matches with the clock beginning to tick down to the end of the campaign?
I'm not learning anything. Yeah, you always learn in every game, but I see mostly the same things. So these players are able to play every 3 days on the best of their capabilities in terms of physique. So if you saw yesterday again, I'll mostly take Dom Szoboszlai as an example. What a work rate. What a work rate for his third game in a row. Till the last second he kept on running up and down, up and down, up and down. And that's the only thing I can ask for, and what the fans can ask for. And that we are then unlucky not to score our chances. That's football, unfortunately. But we cannot accept, not the fans, nor me, that they don't give maximum effort. And but that's what they constantly do, and I assume that they will do Sunday again. But you never know the outcome, because we face with Villa, with Everton away, also difficult opponents. The fixture list for us now is a few difficult ones in a row. Yeah, that's what you have to accept. The good thing is that we are not behind someone. We are still number one, and yeah, that's the good thing if you go into a run of games like this.
Is Gakpo back for this one?
Let's see. I hope. I'm not 100% sure, because we will try. He hasn't trained with the team yet. Maybe he does a bit today. I don't know exactly. It will be a close call.
Thank you.
Hi, Arne. Much better performance against Aston Villa than against Wolves, certainly with the ball. And if you consider Villa, front foot style, adventurous, similar to Manchester City in a lot of respects, in some ways does that favour Liverpool in terms of style, rather than playing against a low block, which certainly you'll have more possession, but trying to make penetrative runs and create chances can often be more difficult?
Yeah, it depends. If we play a team like Wolves, we hardly concede a chance, and we hardly concede an attack. Where or against Everton, but if we play Villa, people say, "Oh, it was quite open," and it didn't look as if you defended that well as other games, where we do get the compliments for the offensive part. So it's always in football. It's a bit of both. Every style of play you face means challenges, and with Villa, yes, we took the ball off them to score a goal, but they also had a long and very good attack when they scored their second goal. But I think in general, people, and me definitely, prefer a game of football that we saw yesterday, even if you are neutral, because I think everybody enjoyed watching that game, and I don't think many people enjoyed watching the Wolves game. But of course, that's not in the interest of Wolves. They are trying to stay up, so you have to accept every style of play. But everyone that loves football prefers a game of football like yesterday.
Ryan Gravenberch has been one of the players of the season, and not just for Liverpool, probably in the Premier League. His effectiveness in recent games hasn't been as high. What do you put that down to? Is it maybe a possibility of not having a replacement who is exactly the same, or is it just the fact that he can't be 9 and 10 out of 10 every week?
I think that is partly what it is. There are only a few players in the world that can be a 9 out of 10 every single 3 days. And if you look at his age, he might eventually belong to those group of players, those 2 or 3 or 4 that can do this. But he's not there yet, which is completely normal. And it depends also on the playing style of the opponent, which we just said. So if you play Everton or Wolves, That's a completely different game than when you play Villa. I liked him yesterday much more than I liked him against Everton, for example. So yeah, it's not always as simple as the form of a player or how many games did he play, but yeah, that's 9 out of 10 times the most easy reason to give, and instead of diving into it and look at playing style and look at certain other things.
Hi Arne. I know you touched on Cody Gakpo. Are there any other team news issues you're having to contend with? And I appreciate it's only 12 hours since you last spoke. Is there any clarity on Conor Bradley?
No, he still has to come in. So we don't know yet, but he will. I would be completely surprised if he's involved in the Sunday game or the Wednesday game against Newcastle. So you can assume that's not going to happen. Joe Gomez had a surgery for his hamstring injury, so he's out for a long time. He will be back maybe just before the end of the season. And then, of course, these two players are not injured, but they come back from an injury, with Jota and Trent. So that's also the reason why they don't play 90 minutes 5 times in a row in 15 days, because that would be a big risk. We could see this yesterday with Conor Bradley.
Just also on Darwin, going back to Darwin, obviously he's got in his head a bit, potentially, that miss. Do you have to also tell him how important he can be for the rest of the season, because there's so much to achieve?
Yes, I will tell him that as well, but I think the most important message is you can miss a chance, but you can't miss out on work rate. That's for me a more important message than tell him, because that's the life of a striker. He knows he's 24, 25, 26, I don't know. He will probably have missed a few chances in his career, and he probably would have scored a few as well. So no problem at all, or no problem at all, of course. We would love to see it differently, but it's part of the job of a number 9, part of your life that you sometimes miss where people expect you to score. But it's not part of the job of a number 9 then to slow down in work rate, and that is something we will talk about.
Hi Arne, we've spoken a few times about the addition of getting chances for the starting number 9, and in the last 2 games Diogo Jota's managed to get 10 shots from starting position. So are you pleased with that improved production, and how disappointed is he that only one of those 10 shots actually hit the target?
Probably he will, although apart from him hitting the target, he gave a great assist as well. So it tells you maybe more how disappointed I am that we missed him for 4 to 5 months. Then it tells you that something changed in our playing style. So when he was there with us before, I think he was involved in a lot of goals, scoring as well. So it tells you how much of a miss it has been not to have him. But again, I would have loved to play him every single time, maybe for 90 minutes. But if your player is out for 4 or 5 months, and he hasn't been out, he has been coming back, coming in, coming back, and every time we played him a bit too much, he got injured again. So I hope people understand why we are so cautious now, because 12 games to go, and you tell me, and I see the same, how much of a threat he is. So we have to keep him available for 12 more games, and Champions League, and the League Cup final. But that is not an easy balance to find. I would have loved to keep him in the team because he played really well. For Trent the same. Who takes out 2 players that are playing so well? Yeah, that's only because it's a big injury risk to keep them in the team. So when I drove up, I was listening to Talk Sports. I don't know who he is, but his name was Mark Lawrenson or something like this, and he simply couldn't understand that I took Trent off, which I understand from his perspective because he played so well, and he just scored a goal. But now maybe he does.
I noticed you had a word with Trent when he came off. Was he disappointed? I mean, or did he understand the fact that it's for the long-term future?
Yeah, we spoke about this already a week ago. That in these 5 games, he already knows how many minutes he would make. That was in a situation where Conor was available as well. Now maybe we have to adjust our plan. But I said to him, you know why I take you out, don't you? He said, yeah, we spoke about it. So. But of course, a player has adrenaline, and he just scored. Was a better moment than against Wolves, where he lost the ball just before I took him off. So he's improving.
Thanks, Arne.
Thank you.
Take care.